A light breeze off Jamaica Bay here in South Ozone Park, Queens, as we are locked and loaded from the starting gate. Grade 1 caliber speed coming up as we blast out of the gate on this Thursday edition of Aqueduct Insider. Glad you're with us here on MSG Plus. Richard Migliore, Jason Blewitt alongside. Little second floor clubhouse studios action, Mig, on the second to last Thursday of the spring meet here at Aqueduct.
Well, the meet's going by fast, just like the show goes by fast. It's springtime outside. It's beautiful in the metropolitan area. But summer has hit our studios. It's about 90 degrees in here, but we never let them see us sweat.
We're cool, calm, and collected as we get on to a Grade 1 caliber and Grade 1 worthy Thursday headline segment. And we kick things off with the defending Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Bayern. Obviously plagued by some foot issues earlier in the year. He is doing okay now. We're happy about that, and we're even happier that he stretched his legs this morning out at Santa Anita.
It took him a little while to get back to the fitness level he needs to make a start, but 7/8 and 24-2 kind of signals that he's ready for his return. Here he is winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, and it's going to be interesting to me to see if Bayern comes back as good as he was last year, or he's going to need to knock off some ring rust in his first start.
Churchill Downs Stakes on that Kentucky Derby undercard May 2nd for $500,000 is the spot circled on the calendar for Bayern. If he runs well there, you've got to be thinking Bob Baffert is looking at the $1.5 million Metropolitan Handicap.
Just another marquee name we can throw into the mix for the Met Mile. It could come up the race of the year, and a one-turn mile at Belmont Park, usually a pretty fairly run race with a strong pace, and everybody gets their opportunity.
And of course, 100,000 plus last year on Belmont Stakes Day, and Bayern may have been the most dazzling winner of all on that Belmont card, taking the Woody Stevens beneath Hall of Famer Gary Stevens. It would take you about 45 hours to drive nonstop, some 2,800 miles from Santa Anita Park to Aqueduct Racetrack. We do it in a lot less time as we go to Condo Commando, who here in Queens this morning stretched her legs for trader Rudy Rodriguez, an easy half mile as she gets closer to the Kentucky Oaks.
And I think that shows that she's bounced out of the Gazelle in good order. A nice maintenance move of 48-3. Sounds like she's going to ship to Churchill Downs and have a work over that track, which I think is important for this filly. She looks to me like she has a tendency to look around. It's going to be important for her to get there, get comfortable with the scenery, the surroundings, and certainly all the hoopla that goes along with Oaks and Derby.
And taking that a step further, I spoke to Gus Rodriguez, Rudy's assistant, who was aboard Condo Commando today for the Breeze. They actually worked her at a rubber ring bit, and she resented it. He said once they got to the top of the stretch, she started, drifting out, was turning her head, and was pretty unhappy, and they're going to go back to the drawing board regarding what sort of equipment they may use in Kentucky.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of times a horse that has a tendency to drift one way or the other, people think the answer is a more severe bit. But actually, especially fillies, sometimes they'll resent it and fight it more. Sometimes less is more. Go to an easier bit, and they kind of relax, and they don't try to run away from it.
All right, she'll run May 1st, first Friday in May. The boys, of course, in the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May. We're 16 days away from the greatest race in all of America, Churchill Downs. And with that in mind, we kick off our Derby Dozen on this Thursday edition of Aqueduct Insider. And our first horse, more of a bigger priced horse, he's 10th on the points list with 62 points to his credit. That is Far Right, who prior to the Rebel and Arkansas Derby, he was the man in Hot Springs.
Yeah, no doubt. And what I've liked about this horse is his ability to come from off the pace. The Kentucky Derby, a race that's always run too fast for the distance, and a horse like him can come late to pick up some pieces, if not all the pieces. And the fact that he can run through traffic. Here we see him far right on the far left. He's certainly comfortable along the rail, and he's handy. And he gets Mike Smith. At least that's who's booked so far. We'll see if there's any changes as we get closer to the Derby, because everybody's jockeying for that best chance to win the Kentucky Derby. But Mike Smith looks like he's leaning this way, and I think for good reason. So we're going to look at a horse every night leading to the Derby, starting with some of the longer shots and work our way up to the favorites.
And he's got a good bit of seasoning and conditioning. A horse that's already run 9 times, had plenty of foundation as a 2-year-old, and he's learned to rate and finish in his races, because if you go back to Far Right's races during his 2-year-old season, he was more of a precocious kind of speedster, but he's handled the stretch out pretty well.
Well, I think that's a common thread with all good horses. They possess speed, and usually they show a lot of speed in the shorter distance races early in their career, but then they learn how to dole out their speed to get longer distances. I mean, we can talk about a lot of horses. Think about a horse like Crypto Clearance, who broke his maiden wire-to-wire in Saratoga going very fast and wound up being a deep closer late in his career, but he still possessed speed. He just used it different.
$2,500 yearling purchase by Notional, My Kind of Horse, a potential Cinderella story on the first Saturday in May. That is far right for trainer Ron Moquette. We come closer to home. We won't have the Derby here, but we are a little more than 7 weeks out to the Belmont Stakes, and we've got a field of 4, in fact, ready to throw it down in a very rich $80,000 featured third race.
To take the early lead, Piquant is away running in second, So Brilliant is third, and Moments No Tiz will sit in the back of the field early on, and 2.5 lengths off of Extra Sexy Hipster and Kendra Carmouche, whose speed to the half-mile pole in front by 3/4 of a length. Piquant is second, So Brilliant third to the outside, and Moments No Tiz trails the field as they run a 1/4 in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Extra Sexy Hipster a half length in front, getting pressed along by Piquant and a 3 wide So Brilliant, and right behind them Moments No Tiz is in fourth but well in contention here, 2.5 lengths off the lead as they come toward the top of the stretch, and it is Extra Sexy Hipster turning for home in front. Piquant is alongside. Cornelio Velasquez brings Moments No Tiz outside of them, and with 1 furlong to go, Piquant is the leader. On the outside, Moments No Tiz runs up alongside. Extra Sexy Hipster is back into third. Moments No Tiz to the front. Piquant battles back on the inside. The two of them, and Piquant came back. Piquant outruns Moments No Tiz. Extra Sexy Hipster was third.
And I misspoke before I threw it up to Larry Comas. The featured second race, not the third, and a rich purse, $81,000. And how about the game effort? You want to teach an old gelding some new tricks? Piquant, holy smokes, 3 in a row, and so game and gritty here.
And you could just see, look at his ears pinned back against his head, his determination. He did not want to lose. This horse is in raging form for Richard Stoklosa. And I remember passing a comment when Stoklosa claimed him for $32,000. You just didn't see Richard Stoklosa reach in to claim horses very often. Well, they saw something they liked, and they've certainly maximized this horse's ability. Despite drifting out severely late in the stretch, he was ultra game to get back up and win.
The hat trick for Piquant, 7-year-old gelding by Arch, narrowly outfinishing Moments No Tiz, the 7-year-old gelding by Tiz now. We like those hard-hitting geldings. They put on a good show, 4-horse field aside. It was a good battle down to the finish line. A bit later in the program, the girls ran for $40,000 claiming tags. We have the same man upstairs, Larry Comas, and he gets us up to speed from the gate in Thursday 7th.
They're off. To Princess with a sharp start. Verisimilitude on the outside, away running in second. Nuff Said is third early on, and then Lots of Noodles and Money Game last and 7 lengths off the lead as De Princess leads the way and well off the rail. De Princess in front by 1.5 lengths. Verisimilitude on the outside is running in second. Nuff Said. Lots of Noodles is down on the inside, racing 4 lengths off the lead and 3.5 clear of Money Game after a 1/4 in 23 and 2/5 seconds. And they move into the far turn. De Princess is the leader. Erad Ortiz Jr. keeping her off the rail, and she's in front by 3/4 of a length. Verisimilitude on the outside is second. Nuff Said is down on the inside, 2 lengths off the lead and 4 lengths ahead of the 2 trailers, Lots of Noodles and Money Game, who is now moved up into fourth. At the top of the stretch, De Princess ran a 45 and 4 half-mile, turns for home in front. Verisimilitude and up the rail, Lots of Noodles trying to squeeze on through here. And Nuff Said on the inside now comes on through. Nuff Said comes up the rail. De Princess into the outside, Money Game, and they're coming down to the last 16th, and Nuff Said got through on the inside and goes on to win. Money Game second. De Princess was third, and a photo between Verisimilitude and Lots of Noodles for fourth.
Rail skimming ride from this 6-year-old mare and jockey Jose Ortiz. The real Nuff Said showed up today, and that was all they wrote in race number 7.
Yeah, it was interesting watching in mid-stretch as the 2-horse Nuff Said, like you said, rail skimming ride by Jose Ortiz, while his brother, Irad Ortiz, in the 4 on De Princess, was trying to close the door. His filly was trying to get out, and he was trying to keep it closed. They might be brothers and they love each other, but out on the racetrack, they do everything they can to beat each other, and they're both so talented, it's very fun to watch.
Nearly 200 $275,000 in the meantime in earnings for Nuff Said, and this is one of these classic Jimmy Riccio success stories, picked up for about $15,000 via the claim box in 2013, and the rest is history. I mean, Michelle Nevin moved this mare up, and Jimmy Riccio does some great work.
Well, Jimmy Riccio isn't successful. This doesn't happen by accident just because they just happen to pick a horse. They definitely look for certain specific things in a horse, and horses they know they can move up and will excel at the things they will do with them. And he's successful for a reason. He does his homework.
100 buyer here on Sunday for Victory is Sweet, also trained by Michelle Nevin. Maybe a horse, the Peter Pan, might be in the or on the radar on going forward to beautiful Belmont Park. But on that note, we go for the green on the green. We've got a lot more coming your way. We turf on Insider. There's no finer place to watch these majestic thoroughbreds, Mother Nature's masterpiece, compete than beautiful Belmont Park. And, of course, we have that opening day program Wednesday, April 29th. Tradition once again in Elmont, New York. Tonalist to look at the upset winner of last year's Belmont Stakes. What does the future hold? Well, we find out. We are less than 2 weeks out. In fact, 13 days away from that April 29th card at beautiful Belmont Park. We're going forward. Most times and most days, regular first post at Belmont will be 1:20 p.m.
Yeah, 1:20, just get us out here just a little bit later, but great racing action, no doubt. And I'm just thinking about the Derby, Jason, and I just hope that all of the top contenders stay healthy and get there, because this promises to be one of the best Kentucky Derbies ever.
Let's move on to race number 8. Turf racing. We only had one today. We ended the card in style. Big field, New York bred, $40,000 maiden claimers with Larry Comas.
Meeting House Road had the best beginning and goes out to take the lead. Star Ago goes with Meeting House Road early on. Then it's Lots of Heat who's out running in third position. El Grillo is down on the inside. April Color between those two. And then it's Blue Shark. 2.5 lengths more back to Send It In outside of Lucky Foursome, who rides the rail in the early stages. Sir Maurice is next, and Savant slow to start and trailing 12 lengths off the lead after a quarter in 24 and 1. So the leader here is Star Ago. Star Ago has taken charge. Meeting House Road now shuffled back to fourth as they make their way to the backstretch, as Star Ago is the leader by a length and a half. Lots of Heat on the outside is second. April Color between horses. Meeting House Road on the inside. Then it's Blue Shark on the far outside, moving up within 2.5 lengths of the lead. El Grillo is after that, and then Send It In, followed by Sir Maurice, who's sent along on the far outside. Lucky Foursome and Savant, 49 and 4 was the first half mile, and now they race for the far turn. And Star Ago leads the way by a half length over Lots of Heat. Blue Shark is right in contention on the outside. 3 lengths more to Sir Maurice. Meeting House Road on the inside. El Grillo was put to the whip outside of April Color. The others have work to do. It's 5 lengths back to Lucky Foursome, who's making a bit of run from the back of the pack as they turn for home. It is Star Ago, the one to catch. Blue Shark and Lots of Heat in hot pursuit. Sir Maurice is down on the inside. El Grillo is 5th. Final furlong, and Blue Shark in the center of the course goes up and after the lead from Star Ago, and now Blue Shark is in front. Blue Shark and Junior Alvarado pulling away in the late strides to win it. Star Ago is second, and then came Sir Maurice and Lots of Heat.
Blue Shark right outside Star Ago. Not easy to miss there with the green blinkers and the hot pink cap. And for David Donk, this is history. During the spring meet at Aqueduct, a barn that puts up big, big numbers on this grass course.
Yeah, he seems like he has his horses fit and ready to roll. Now, this horse has been running, but usually, Jason, I find Dave Donk's horses excel in grass racing anyway. And Blue Shark, you could just see around a turn, when he attacked this field, he was going to take a bite out of the winner, the runner-up.
I like that. Former Woody Stevens protege.
Gotta come up with something.
Pretty good.
Seat. Come on.
Gelding by a Travers winner, 4-year-old in Colonel John. Junior Alvarado, as Larry C. picked up the winning rider in race number 8. Keep in mind, a late scratch, by the way, of Maggie's pick, Purim Party. We'll see that one down the road for George Weaver. For us down the road is the Furious 5, Larry Comas. The calls of 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Way up into fourth now at the top of the stretch. Zenstone and Patria Carita 1-2. They went 45 and 4 for a half mile. Zenstone to the 8th pole in front. Patria Carita second. Get Hot, Stay Hot is third now. And angles to the far outside for the final furlong. It is Zenstone, Patria Carita, and Get Hot, Stay Hot. On the far outside, Zenstone, Get Hot, Stay Hot. Get Hot, Stay Hot. Got up over Zenstone. Patria Carita was third, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. And it is Street Prince in front. Ran a 46 and 4 half mile. Street Prince gets away to lead by 3 now. And then it's Feverish Loot, Larry Boy, and on the far outside, Lightning Ron runs on late. But Street Prince has a 5-length lead close to home. And Street Prince and Samuel Camacho Jr. are much the best. Lightning Ron was second. Up for third is Moon Silver, then a photo between Divine Storm and Feverish Loot. On the outside, Susan Elaine coming up the rail. Susan Elaine and Eric Consell have stormed to the front and have opened up now to a 4-length lead over Wonderish, as Just Enough Dior comes up on the inside, and the Giant is lit on the far outside is next. It is Susan Elaine. Susan Elaine coming down to the line in front. The race is for second, and it is Just Enough Dior in a photo with the Giant is lit. Wonderish was fourth. At the top of the stretch, a 46 flat half mile, Bella the Bandit comes to the furlong pole with a 3-length lead. And drifting well out here is Elmra, who's really bearing out as Annie Walker has taken second. Bella the Bandit's got a 3-length lead at the 16th pole on Annie Walker. And as they come down to the wire, it is Bella the Bandit and Taylor Rice to win. Annie Walker was second, and then it was Princess Jenny and Wisdom of Oz. Behind them is Thomas Knight in fourth, and they're into the stretch. And Point Hope has taken the lead on the outside. It is now Point Hope in front, and Point Hope has opened up a 2.5-length lead over Ghost Ship. And then comes Thomas Knight, Get Out of Town, followed by Moonlight Party. It is all Point Hope today. Point Hope and Cornelio Velasquez come under the line all alone, and they're going to win it by about 6 or 7 lengths in the end. Thomas Knight was second. Looks like
that was Point Hope, who did not need a lot of luck. Crushed the field, found the right group, and rolled home an easy winner in race number 6 for Linda Rice, and he would get the Linda Rice party started. The first of a Linda ×2 rolling double in races 6 and 7. As we go back and take our second look on the afternoon, it was a good day for Linda Rice because the first leg of races 5 and 6, I misspoke with the double, it was the rolling double of 5 and 6. Bella the Bandit won by a lot, and Point Hope crushed the field, and here's another look.
Yeah, I think you said it right. Point Hope found a field to her liking. In her 13th career start, she breaks her maiden. And Tonino Muccio, who actually owns Palace, too, and has had a lot of success with different claims, and had a really good time that night up at the New York Breeders' Dinner. He had a lot of fun as Palace garnered a few awards, but Point Hope for a hot stable.
For a hot stable that brings back the Speedy La Verdad, whose resume of excellence speaks volumes, and she's been as good as it gets for as long as she's been around. Should be a big favorite here Saturday in the featured Grade 2 Distaff.
I think she found the right group to come back with, too. It looks to me like she lays over the field a bit. With all her speed, too, she gets an outside post. I expect her to clear and make the lead, but from the outside post, she can do it without any pressure.
And she'll have jockey Jose Ortiz, whose name is among the top riders here at the Big A. He has had a fine spring meet. He is scheduled to ride Upstart in the Run for the Roses, and he is currently sitting second in the Aqueduct standings.
But second with a bullet, and Angel Cruz, he certainly got off to a great beginning, winning at a high percentage, but Jose Ortiz each day and Cornelio Velasquez closing the gap. He's going to have to get on his bicycle if he wants to be leading rider at the spring meet.
And let's see how Linda Rice is doing. 2 wins, sweeping that rolling double in 5 and 6. And you know what? She's now 2 behind David Jacobson.
She's closing the gap on David Jacobson, who seems to win races, though, in spurts. So he's going to be tough to run down. We've seen this kind of trainer race before.
Just one claim yesterday. What happened in the racing office on this penultimate Thursday? Not 1, but 2. And Annie Walker picked up off trainer Mike Hushin.
Yeah, I think Annie Walker's a good claim, too. She showed a little bit of a different dimension. Didn't get out of the gate real well, but I thought she ran on well to be second. And now she'll have dinner in David Jacobson's barn tonight.
And we turf for the Friday preview. We're back on the green stuff, a solid field, and money, money, money here on Saturday. A $250,000 guaranteed late pick 4. That is a Saturday 9-race program that really, really picks up steam beginning around race number 6, the opening leg of that sequence. And the sun is still out. The days have gotten longer. It's nearly face-off time at MSG, and we'll be back with the Friday preview. Flowers are in bloom, that is. The Mig said it at the top of the broadcast. Spring has sprung here at the Big A, and we've got those Grade 1 winners commemorated around the Aqueduct paddock. And speaking of Grade 1s, there'll be Grade 1s galore throughout the spring-summer meet at Belmont Park. And, of course, during that May 2nd Kentucky Derby simulcast from Churchill Downs, an early first post of 12 noon and 13 live races at beautiful Belmont Park.
Nothing but action Derby day between the Kentucky Derby card and what promises to be a brilliant 13-race card on Derby Day. Should be a lot of fun.
Should be a lot of fun. Breakfast at Belmont kicks off Kentucky Derby Day that Saturday at Belmont, obviously beginning at 7 a.m. We'll have the Kentucky barbecue in the backyard, a live concert, and the Knob Creek bourbon tasting competition. So a lot of good stuff planned in that spacious Belmont backyard. It is the Palace after all, with plenty of room, and I see you've got something to say.
I'm just thinking bourbon and breakfast. Bourbon for breakfast? I know it's not for breakfast, but it just sounded like that.
Well, come out for the breakfast, hang out all day, and then after lunchtime, get some of that Knob Creek bourbon in the backyard. I won't be joining you. Let's move on to the Friday preview. And got a couple of nice turf races on the program. None more important than the featured second race, the $100,000 Plenty of Grace, in which Cushion goes out for a good barn.
Yeah, Cushion, obviously a nice filly. She's run with good fillies. She won last year off the layup going a mile and a half. The big question is the mile distance. I mean, even in Europe, she only ran that short once in her life. All of her races were much longer. It leads you to believe that maybe this is just a race to get her started to prep her for longer races.
Two-time winner, 5-year-old mare by Galileo, trained by Christophe Camont. She's got Junior Alvarado. Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee, Manny Franco have Tokyo time. She's a familiar face, a familiar name, and she's run some big races in the past.
She hasn't, and she has tactical speed. She doesn't need to be on the lead, but she can be close if the pace is slow. I'm not seeing a tremendous amount of pace in this race. She could have a tactical advantage if she's put in the game early, and Manny Franco's been aggressive, so I would expect Tokyo time to get a good trip on this turf course.
Here's another trainer enshrined in the Hall of Fame. That is Jonathan Shepard. Principessa Ava, that is the Irish-bred 4-year-old filly, a 3-time winner who's coming back to the Big A.
Yeah, and she comes out of the Hillsborough, which was a really live race. I mean, Ball Dancing came back to win the Grade 1. Jenny Wiley at Keeneland the other day. Stephanie's Kitten needs no introduction. She was only beaten 6 3/4 lengths. What price would either one of those fillies be in here? So you got to think she's getting a little class relief, and she should be pretty tough here.
That will go as race 2, the $100,000 Plenty of Grace, second leg in Friday's 15% takeout pick 5, a non-carryover pick 6 day with the 15% takeout as well. And keep in mind, just an 8-race program, so we'll get that pick 6 underway in race number 3. Race number 7 is part of the 6. It's part of the late pick 4, and it's on the main track. 7 were entered, 6 betting interests, and Anchor Down makes his belated 4-year-old debut, unbeaten in a pair of races as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, 2 for 2, but he's coming back up over a year layoff. He's got good, steady works. Alto Racing has materiality getting ready for the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, this is a horse that has a world of ability. You just hope that he comes back in good order.
Beat his stablemate at the time in Danza, who would go on to pull off a pretty big upset in the $1 Million Arkansas Derby before falling off the face of the earth. You know there's talent there, but I will add, and as great as Todd Pletcher is, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, perennial leading champion, bringing horses back off a year-plus layoff on the dirt, not one of the barn's better strengths. Just 2 for 18 over the last 5 years, 11%, and a $1.20 ROI. And the 7 furlongs, do you think that's a demanding distance to come back off the bench at?
I think that's the toughest distance to come back off the bench at, because it's basically just an elongated sprint. 6 furlongs, they go at it the whole way. They do the same thing at 7. Very, very tough race to come back with.
Much more recency on Stalwalking Dude, who battled hard throughout the winter on the inner track for David Jacobson, and just 9 days ago, last Wednesday, and he was one of our weekend stars, Maggie and I, on the Sunday edition of Insider, when he outgained Sky Commander on April 8th.
Well, you're going to see, he looks like he's collared here, and he's going to fight for it, and Stalwalking Dude is a winner. 8 wins out of 24 starts. He's winning a third of his starts. You got to like horses that want it. Well, this is a horse that won it. The question for me, Jason, is this effort was tough on him. He had to fight so hard for it. Does he regress from that, or does he just continue on?
And he's facing better horses.
Yes.
So you've got that big effort just 9 days ago, and he's got to come back and step up in class against a horse like Anchor Dawn, a layoff or no layoff, and a horse like Noble Moon, who's got some good-looking company lines on his resume for Leah Giamatti. You're dealing with a 4-year-old who's very fragile, but if he brings his A game and is set to rock and roll, he can make a lot of noise.
This is a horse that showed he's got a lot of talent. We were watching him win the Jerome here, and this is the first time he is running a non-graded stakes company since September of 2013. I think he's really going to enjoy that class relief. I like that he's drawn to the outside. He's got enough speed to get position and get in the race. I've got to think he's going to enjoy the move back to allowance company.
And he'll have Jose Ortiz. Hope he puts in a good effort for Leah Giamatti, who, of course, has her sights set on the May 1st Kentucky Oaks at this point with Wonder Gal, who you would think, win, lose, or draw, should take a step forward off the Gazelle.
Yeah, I think she definitely needed, Wonder Gal needed a race in the Gazelle, and she'll definitely be better wherever she shows up next time, whether it's the Oaks or someplace else. She definitely ran like a filly who needed a race.
And Maggie shows up right now. We don't have to wait till next time. She's got a horse to look at for Chad Brown in race number 6.
Time for another edition of the Paddock Insider on this beautiful, sunny Thursday afternoon, but we'll look at Friday, and we're going to take a look at, once again, another turf race. This one a maiden 75 for the fillies. And I'm going to check in with a Chad Brown horse. Well, go figure, huh? But he's running 2 in tomorrow's 6th race, and I'm going to go with the longer-priced one. That is number 5, Bluegrass Maddie in here. She is a half to Night Patrol, who was pretty good on the turf himself. Granted, there hasn't been much other turf production, but this is a filly going back to her debut in a maiden special weight that I like, just physically speaking. Very athletic frame. So now she's going a 3rd time out. Her Parks race was bad, and she was a beaten favorite, but I think this surface change might boost Bluegrass Maddie's chances tomorrow, and I always love a trainer with a higher priced horse in the mix. So that's your Paddock Insider for today. Guys, back to you.
We'll look forward to Maggie's Friday Paddock Insider, but tonight, as we say goodbye, we're ready for the puck drop at MSG.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the Rangers in their Stanley Cup quest, and we've got Maggie's pick. You know who we're picking. We bleed blue. Go Rangers.
No more than 5 games in this first round against Pittsburgh. Let's go Rangers. We bleed blue from the place that's blue all over, Aqueduct Racetrack. That'll do it for tonight's show. We thank you for tuning in. And the Mig and I, hopefully, following a Rangers victory, we'll see you guys tomorrow right here on MSG Plus.